Let's do a quick recap of last week. So first, I want to say this. Congratulations to these people: Jenny, Yelena, Christina, Pratita, Della, Andre, Monica, Laura, Joe, Dolly, and Wendy. All of you guys had a 5-second moment where I'm like going, oh yeah, I get that moment, right? The whole point of the story is for the audience to relate. But how do you know if your story is relatable or not? And that's the reason why we're doing these exercises. I give you a 5-second moment, or somebody else gives you a 5-second moment, and then that has to trigger something in your mind. And that's how you know. So what I'm going to do is we're going to form a committee of volunteers, and we're going to take all of these vulnerable 5-second moments we find in the community, and we're going to add them all into the story bank. Whenever you need ideas for stories, or whenever you don't have your stuff, you can go to the story bank, just read through these 5-second moments and go, oh, that reminds me of this. Oh, this reminds me of that. And then you can put together a story like that. One kind of obstacle that I saw just from talking to everyone, a lot of you guys are still wearing a mask. Maybe it's a mask of entertainer. Like whenever you don't want to confront something, you just make a joke out of it, right? All of these masks needs to come off before you really go there and tell a story that's going to resonate. Be a nobody. Stop trying to constantly prove yourself, right? You're not going to find your 5-second moment by searching for it. What I need you guys to do is when you're working on these assignments, when you're reflecting, I need you guys to turn all the distractions off and completely be present. Because in the present moment, when they're not trying to find the perfect story, that's when the best ideas usually come. It would be really helpful if you just meditate for 5 minutes before you go into a small group meeting, just to kind of, calm that brain down. The spectrum of originality. The reason why every story sounds the same, it's all between the spectrum of cliche and original. What makes it vulnerable is that there's some uncertainty. Like if I say this, are people going to judge me or not? If you know that you're going to say it and everybody's going to praise you for it, that's not vulnerable. But we need to get your comfort zone more to this way, where you can be more vulnerable. You can be more specific. And that's when it starts to become original. And that's when people start going, I felt that. Like, I know exactly what that person's talking about. When you have a story where, oh, I'm a hero and I end up a hero, that's not a good story. There has to be some sort of a transformation, right? There has to be a moment when somebody did something to you. And then as a result of that, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Otherwise, it just sounds like a stop story. It sounds like, we've all been there where somebody goes up there and they start sharing their sob story. They're airing their dirty laundry. And we're like, please stop. Like, like that. You don't want to be that guy, right? You don't want to be that person. In your back pocket, you want to have library of these 5-second moments, bunch of them. So you can always put them together to make a story. And the way you would do it on a high level is the old you, right? I used to be like this, and then give us some 5-second moment examples of how you used to be like that. And then one day this happened, and then give us that 5-second moment. And then there was a lesson or a reminder. When you're in small group, be honest, but don't be an asshole, right? I need you to be honest about your feedback. So if somebody tells a story that's kind of vague and it doesn't have a specific 5-second moment, then you have to go back and ask them, can you give me an example of how you found clarity? Can you give me an example of a time when you had that aha moment? Secondly, then you have to ask them, in what way were you being a victim or villain? What's something that you did wrong? And then finally, what should you have done in order to become a hero? How could you have taken ownership? How could you have taken responsibility of this? What could you have done right so that you can become a hero? Let's move on to our topic of the day, defining your personal brand. Tell me, if you guys can tell me what these people's brands are. Tony Robbins, Oprah, Gary Vee, Mel Robbins, Christo. What is he all about? What's his mission? What's his brand message? The reason why I said that is to show you guys that you don't need to define your brand message. You just need to be amazing at whatever you do. Just by being amazing in your own way, that automatically becomes your niche. People are automatically going to come to you for that. You define your brand by letting your audience tell you what your brand is. So my strength is making people say, I never thought of it that way. I didn't plan for that. I was just being myself and I let them tell me. I'm constantly connecting the dots and constantly finding analogies. This is why I'm so aware that, okay, this is what my audience wants. This is why I never thought of it that way should be my tagline. Right now, there's a huge disconnect between what most people think that their audience wants from them and what their audience really wants from them. But by connecting the dots, you can start to see, you can really listen to your audience. We're so scared to limit ourselves. Like, I'm much, much, much more than that. I'm a designer, I'm a coder, I'm editing, I do brand strategy, I do copywriting. I'm not just a storyteller. But here's the thing, your brand actually is, if this is the entire pie and that's all the things you're expert in and you're passionate about, your brand is actually one small slice of that pie, not the whole thing. If you try to brand yourself as this whole thing, then you're just going to confuse the shit out of everyone. So you need to figure out what is the slice that people want from you, and then make that the brand. You're not at a crossroad. The way it's gonna work is the thing that you're good in, the thing that you feel like you're not fulfilled in, the thing that you're bored of, is the thing that you're good in. And that's the thing that people are gonna pay you money for, because you're good at it. You have a proven track record of doing the same thing 100 times, 10 times, whatever, repeatedly. And that's why you're bored at it, because you've done it over and over and over again. If you don't have that 80%, you're constantly going to be worried about money. You're going to make stupid decisions and things like that. So figure out what your 80% and what your 20%. What I want to say finally is one story doesn't define you. You have many, many, many stories. So don't try to find that one perfect hero's journey story. What you should be doing is you should be constantly finding these 5-second moments and connecting the dots to come up with multiple stories depending on the situation, depending on the context. The goal of the about is to show your personality. The goal of the sales page is to figure out the pain point that the client has and what's the hero's journey or inventor's journey that I can tell to show how I overcame that pain point. And then your content, the stories that your content, those are your like 5-second moments or your opinions. What you're doing is you're building rapport with the audience, showing them what your opinion is so that you can attract people that are like-minded. So your assignment this week, what I want you to do is take those 5-second moments that you've been coming up with and try to build a story out of that, an entire story. Use the structure that I gave you. I used to be a liar. I used to be an imposter. I used to be a people pleaser. I used to, whatever it is, and then give, for example, give those examples like boom, 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 boom. And then until one day this happened, this 5-second moment happened. And then the lesson or the reminder I learned from it is this. So try to put those 5 seconds moments and then use them as a building block to put together this story. I used to be like this, for example, boom, 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 until one day this happened, the 5-second moment. And then the lesson I learned was this. Once you have that story, go to your small group, share it with your small group, get feedback from your small group, and make sure you have clear 5-second moments within that story. And remember that it has those details, what, when, where, with who. After you share it with your small group, if you post it on Circle, I'll review every story before next Sunday service, and I'll give feedback. Another thing I want to say is I want to go to every small group meeting. I want to try to attend every small group meeting between this week and next week, just to make sure that everybody's getting it and just to clarify and answer any questions. So talk to your small group leader on when to schedule. Like some of them are already scheduled, but talk to your small group leader and ask them to schedule that with me. There's no Monday masterclass this week, but like I said, I will go to as many small group meetings. So ask your small group leader. So whatever question you have, if you want to share your story and get my feedback, I can do it in your small group. So talk to your small group leader and let's make that happen.